out in Las Vegas area. This video taken hours ago. He's in a restaurant walking around, shaking hands, mingling with the guests there. The White House says Biden will head back to his home in Delaware tonight. He's going to self-isolate and continue to carry out all of his duties fully during that time, is what we're hearing from the White House on all this tonight. We also understand, I know from what the doctor says right now, that he has a runny nose and a non-productive cough and with general malaise, but testing positive for COVID, and that information coming out a little earlier this afternoon, and certainly this video showing him here he is on the campaign trail in Vegas, and his remarks at the Latino Civil Rights Advocacy Organization at this event a little earlier. But this all playing out as the convention enters night 3, as we were talking about, and one of the big focuses will be from the keynote speaker, who will be J.D. Vance, and this is the Ohio senator who is in step with presidential nominee Donald Trump. And our Doug Reardon is out there in Milwaukee talking with delegates from Georgia, but also breaking down what we should expect here tonight. And here's a little bit of what he found out today in Milwaukee.
Vance held a fundraiser outside of Fiserv Forum earlier today where he painted a picture of a better America under a Trump-Vance administration. That is exactly what we expect to hear from him when he takes the stage in just a couple of hours. Vance himself has very humble beginnings. He's that American success story that Donald Trump often talks about on the campaign trail. And the theme here on day 3 of the convention is Make America Strong Again. That is right in line with Vance's background as both a Marine and kind of a rags to riches story. At his fundraiser today, he also mentioned the assassination attempt on Trump's life this past weekend, saying what many Republicans here at the convention have been telling us for days, that it makes Trump look like a stronger candidate.
I was mad about it. Was he mad and angry? He called for national unity. He called for calm. He showed leadership, my friends. Donald Trump got shot and he toned down the temperature. That's what a real leader does.
Despite Vance's criticisms in the past of former President Donald Trump, he is now right in line with him on policies like cutting off funding to Ukraine, and also that there was fraud in the 2020 election in states like Georgia. We expect to hear him make more parallels between his ideas and Trump's policies when he takes the stage tonight. From Milwaukee, Doug Reardon, Atlanta News First.
Young man, there's no need to feel down. I said, young man, pick yourself off the ground. I said, young man, 'cause you're in a new town. There's no need to be unhappy. Young man, there's a place you can go. I said, young man, when you're short on your dough, you can stay there, and I'm sure you will find many ways to have a good time.
The Atlanta area, back in the Atlanta area here tonight, is a fire that we've had crews at all afternoon, happening around 5:30 and East Point. Let's show you some video there from that scene, because it was a pretty impressive scene here this afternoon. And you can see firefighters responding and the damage to all this. But we've had crews out there looking into what caused all this. The flames are spilling from that roof when our cameras first arrived. This was just before 5:30, and you can see the impact of this apartment complex. Right now, it's not clear if anyone was hurt or the official cause of this fire. We're hearing lightning may have been an issue. That may be something investigators are looking at, and residents are telling us firefighters had a tough time getting those flames under control, as we show you some of that video. And that's one thing we're looking into tonight here in the newsroom, about how this all unfolded and what exactly caused this. I'm going to bring in meteorologist Patrick Pete, because we were talking about lightning potentially being an issue in all this. And Patrick, we've been in this kind of pattern where we've been looking at storms in the area, and the lightning is certainly an issue for some of these people. Again, not sure if that's the official cause yet, but it's something we're looking at.
Definitely not something that they have confirmed, but firefighters are talking about it. And from some of our reporting, residents were saying that there was lightning in the areas. I think one witness actually said they saw lightning strike the building. This happened at around 3:23 this afternoon.
And we had some activity.
We had activity at that point moving into the area. I was actually live on Atlanta News First at 3. I was tracking those storms. We were tracking them actually before that, but at 3 o'clock we had some storms moving into parts of Metro Atlanta, in this area in particular. So definitely something that we're going to continue to investigate as we head through the next couple of days. We're going to get some some updates tonight. We actually have a reporter live on the scene, and they're going to bring you whatever we have learned. They'll be bringing that to you tonight at 10 on Atlanta News First on Peachtree TV, and then, of course, on Atlanta News First at 11. Good evening, everybody. I feel like it's been a long time since I've been at this desk. It's good to see you. Hopefully you all are doing well. I know why you're here. You've gotten the news, so let's go ahead and get you the weather update. And it's going to be much of the same, y'all. We have been talking about this summer-like pattern. If you've seen, if you were with us at 3 o'clock, I was actually mentioning to Alan and Tracy, July is Julying. And what I meant by that is it's been warm, borderline hot. It's been humid, and we've been dealing with these scattered thunderstorms in the afternoon and early evenings, and that's really a hallmark of this time of year. Nonetheless, we try to do our best to give you a heads up on when we expect this to be impactful to you. And these are first alert weather days. We've been trying to make it clear that these are low impact because you're all are at this point adapted to these afternoon scattered storms. But it's something that you're going to have to deal with. Getting my little lower third here for you. I should have that up there in just a second for you. But it's something that you've been dealing with for the last few days, and you're going to have to, unfortunately, continue to deal with it as we head through the end of the work weekend into the weekend. First alert weather day for tomorrow, Friday, Saturday. Some of the latest guidance for tomorrow has been giving us a little bit more dry time than some of the earlier model runs. Nonetheless, we still expect there to be some thunderstorms firing up across parts of our area. By no means are any of these days washouts. So I want to make sure that's one thing that's understood. It's really just those couple of hours where, you know, these storms roll through your neighborhood and then they move out and you get the sun back out. Temperatures start to rebound a little bit. This is just kind of your official heads up. This is the summer-like pattern that you all have become accustomed to. I grew up in this type of pattern, so I know that if I know what it is, you all know what it is as well. Let's walk you through the next 48 hours. And much like this morning, there is the potential for there to be a little bit of burst of energy, roughly 7, 8 o'clock. Just like this morning, it's not going to be widespread. It's going to be pretty isolated, but there's going to be the potential for there to be some isolated showers on the roadways in the mornings. I still think our better chance for scattered rain and thunderstorms will arrive after 12 o'clock. Once we get closer to 2, 3 o'clock, things start to bubble over. We've seen that play out the last few days. That'll be the same for tomorrow afternoon. I think we trend drier through the overnight, and then heading into Friday, we're going to rinse and repeat. A dry start to your Friday morning. Once we get closer to 1, 2 o'clock, scattered showers and thunderstorms start to bubble over. And I'm really going to be watching areas along and south of I-20. Here's why. So we have this cold front that's moving in, right? And admittedly, these fronts this time of year, they're not really cold. They don't really drop your temperatures a whole lot. If anything, they drop your dew points. With this particular boundary, it's going to be moving up and down as we head through the weekend and into the beginning of next week. And as it does, the axis of heaviest showers and thunderstorms will be along that boundary. And I think that boundary is going to be somewhere along or south of I-20 on Friday. So I think Friday's most energetic thunderstorms will probably be along and south of the I-20 corridor. As we head into the evening, it starts to lift back up. So then those showers and storms start to lift northward. And then we trend drier through the overnight hours. But unfortunately, this setup is with us heading into the weekend. So we added a first alert weather day for Saturday, not because we think that Saturday is just going to be any worse than any of the days that we've seen so far, but because it's going to be a continuation of that pattern. That pattern doesn't stop there. We'll see more of this bubbling up on Sunday afternoon, more of this bubbling up on Monday afternoon, and then you've guessed it, more of it bubbling up again on Tuesday. But I do want to just take you through the end of the weekend, right? With these shower and thunderstorm opportunities, because one thing that we are expecting is roughly widespread 1 to 2 inches of rain over the course of the next few days. I'm not saying that like it's a bad thing, okay? If you've been with us for a while now, you know that most of North Georgia is in some form of drought. So rain at this point, as long as it's not 4 inches in an hour, 3 inches in an hour, rainfall is beneficial to us. We experienced something that was called a flash drought, right? And in layman's terms, there was just a whole bunch of atmospheric conditions that just came right to allow our soils to dry up quickly, rapidly, right? We had a very dry June. I think we picked up an inch and some change. Inch and I think 1.74 inches is all we picked up the whole month of June. And the bulk of that came like the last 2 days of June, right? So we've had a very dry period. And that just allowed for our soils to dry, like each week, going from week to week, that just led to drier soils, right? And so that's why the drought hasn't really eroded yet. If you were with us on Thursday last week, we brought out the new drought monitor, and there was essentially no change. We're hoping that because we've been in a very, for lack of a better term, saturated afternoon pattern where we've had these scattered showers and storms here or there, hit or miss, that we'll at least get some sort of benefit from that on the back end as we head into tomorrow when that drought monitor comes out. I'm really going to be watching Troop Meriwether counties because those thunderstorms the last couple of afternoons have been very slow movers in that part of the region. So I do expect maybe some of a dial back in the drought there. But most of us have picked up a good amount of rain we picked up 3.5 inches just within the last couple of weeks at Hartsville Jackson. So we'll continue to monitor this. I mentioned the drought monitor. I want to show it to you. You can see that parts of Metro Atlanta, including portions of Fulton, Cobb County, Douglas County, under that severe drought. And then if you're not in that severe drought, you're in probably a moderate drought across the region. That's going to be that next tier down, moderate drought, and that's for most of North Georgia. Dry in the mountains, but we've all had rain and thunderstorms, so we're just hoping that we get a little bit of a reduction in those numbers as we head through the next couple of days. You had a flash drought. The flash drought doesn't erode as quickly, so we'll continue to see what all of these rain and thunderstorm opportunities will do to that drought monitor over the course of the next week or so. Just as a bit of a tease, meteorologist Fred Campagna will actually be breaking down that drought monitor tomorrow sometime around 5:12 p.m. So heads up, we get that new hot off the press drought monitor. We normally break that during live at 5. So other than that, I mentioned that it was going to be unsettled. I mentioned that we were going to have shower and thunderstorm opportunities every afternoon for the next 7 days. And I mentioned that there are multiple first alert weather days. I want to make sure once again that everybody understands that none of these days are washouts. It's really just going to be that period after 1 o'clock through about 7, 8, depending on the day of the week, where we're just going to have these scattered thunderstorms bubbling up and moving through, right? Very summertime pattern. I love it. It's hot. It's humid. As long as you have that First Alert Weather app, you can kind of maneuver and go as you need to based off where those storms are. I would not cancel any outdoor plans because they're just pop-ups. They're not anything else other than that. But the best way to track these pop-ups with this time of year, these type of storms, is just to have the app. And it'll tell you, hey, lightning's 11.2 miles away, whatever the case may be. Heavy rain moving into your neighborhood. Turn those notifications on and also make sure that it tracks you in the sense that the app goes where you go. So maybe you're in Fulton County, maybe you're in Atlanta for the afternoon, but you live maybe in Cumming, maybe in Alpharetta. That app will tell you where those storms are always in relation to where you are, not just in relation to home base. All righty. So lots going on. Obviously, we're working on the breaking news of the evening. This news about Joe Biden having COVID. We're trying to find out more information on what that means for him over the course of the next week or so. We're also following the breaking news of multiple fires that have occurred this evening, and we're trying to press the fire officials on what their guidance is, whether they're thinking. We had some unofficial comments that this could potentially be due to lightning. There was lightning in the area at the time, so it makes sense. But we're working to get all this stuff confirmed for you, and we'll have that and those updates tonight at 10 and 11. So I'm not going to hold y'all any longer than I'm supposed to. I always say I'm here for a good time, not a long time. Thank y'all for joining us this evening, and we'll see y'all on the airwaves tonight at 10 and 11.